Hello everyone, and welcome to this painting video for the Dancer of the Boreal Valley from Dark Souls the board game. This is one of the main bosses for the base game, and as with every other model from this game, I'm doing my darker paint scheme, which is primarily painting the model, or starting with a black base coat, and then dry brushing everything else on there. I started off with the darker blue, which is pretty much all the cloth, other than the shawl and bodysuit. So actually, not a lot of it. And then I moved on to my brighter metal, getting mainly the jewelry and the under armor, and also the filigree that ends up on the shoulders. Then I moved to believe it's actually my mid-range, no, this has to be my darker metal, and this is being used to dry brush the entire armor. The inside ends up being a little difficult to get here, especially on camera, but it was just difficult to get in general. And I do always find it odd that this model is connected by only its feet. It's not connected by the cloak, even though it looks like it. And I've seen many renditions of people taking this model, chopping it up, like breaking it right off the base, or cutting it right off the base, and in many cases taking one of the legs and putting it forward, or having something else connecting the base. Now, it does actually hold on pretty well, and like all the models for this game, there is a plastic holder for the entire for all the models that fit nice and snug, so you don't really have to worry about it breaking too much. So here's the shawl, and I'm doing this in, if I'm correct, a very light blue. It's either a light blue or a light gray. I can't really remember at the moment, I'm sorry. I did actually paint this a long time ago, and I'm applying it very thoroughly, as really I want this to look as ghostly as possible. I would have gone, if I could have made it translucent, I would have, but I wanted it to be as bright as possible. It will be dry brushed white, and I really just wanted it to stand out from the rest of the model, as it does from the 3D model in the actual video game. Now, I feel that they did a nice job with molding it to convey that sense of motion that it has, especially because it's very separate from the way the body moves. But as you can see, like I said, I do this very thoroughly here. So next, I move on to the sword. Now, unlike the rest of the model, the sword I don't want using my dark paint scheme. In fact, I'm using what I refer to as cartoonish paint scheme, or bright paint scheme, where there will be no inking, no black base coat to dry brush onto like my dark paint schemes. It's intended to make things look very bright. And considering the sword is on fire in its model, it honestly, yeah, it just ends up, it should be very bright. Now, I'm a little sad that she doesn't have both her swords that the second one she pulls out later in the fight, in the video game. I would have really preferred seeing both of them. But as I was saying, so I cover the model in my brightest silver, as I don't want anything to be dark on this at all. I add the flames much later, to my knowledge, or at least various dry brush coats, as I think I save it for the rest of the highlight, yes. Now, here I speed up the video a little, because all I'm doing is cleaning up the areas that are supposed to be black in general. They're not supposed to be highlighted any color. They get highlighted to gray to add some definition to the model. So sorry if this gets a little choppy, but I didn't want to make you sit here for a long period of time. I believe I do this again at one other point in the video, but yeah, so here I'm just covering every area where it's supposed to be black cloth, which is primarily the bodysuit. So, as per usual with all the bosses, I'm doing the base in the cross of the base. Again, I don't like basing my models in the model painting term of basing. I like my models looking like pieces. If I want them to look more artistic, or I want to do a scenery piece, ever, I will actually make them look like that. If they come with a custom piece, like many of the Kingdom Death, some of the Kingdom Death models do, then yes, I will definitely paint that and everything, but for the most part, I want them to look like game pieces. So here we are on the highlighting coat. I'm highlighting the part of the shawl that actually attaches to the head afterwards, because I wanted it to make it very clear that it's on a black piece of cloth. And now I'm moving on to highlighting all the armor, which I don't mind going over the metal that was brighter before, because that's the color I'm using to do the highlight, which results in it not changing at all, like I did with the Ornstein model, and having it so that I did the highlights for the bronze first, and then went over the gold with, and then painted the gold. So here's where I'm doing the brighter silvers, which again is for the jewelry and filigree on the shoulders primarily. There was a bit of cleaning up. A sky blue being used to highlight the darker blue that I started the model with. And then a gray to add some definition to the black cloth, so that it's not just completely flat, especially on camera. Sadly, it does blend into the shawl a little bit. If you look carefully, you can see a very clear difference, even more so once the model is actually highlighted, although I believe I did actually want the cloth here to look more gray, and that might have been me actually redoing the base dry brush. So here's me adding just the white to the shawl. It stands out a little bit more on its curves and everything, although then again, that's the point of highlighting. This primarily is to just make it look more ethereal and honestly like a thin white piece of cloth that is just blowing in the wind. And again, working on the head, so what I was saying originally was me deciding to paint the model, that part of the model, space coat. So here we go with the flames. This actually is done in multiple coats. The first coat is just a vibrant red being used on the entire sword except for the hilt, just the whole blade. And then I believe I go with an orange. I'm going over the part that is actually modeled flames, which will then be done here in a yellow very quickly. Alright, so 3 layers. Sometimes I do 4 for flames, but that was all. And then that's probably a white that I forgot about and do sometimes. But that is the entire model, folks. Thank you for watching this. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to press that like button. If you think somebody else will enjoy this, feel free to share the video. If you didn't like the video, go ahead and press the dislike button. But please try to leave a constructive comment as to why. I do want to try to improve my videos and please my viewers. Also, if you want to comment in general, feel free to. And if you want to see more like this, be it my painting videos, my board game overview videos, or as I've been doing lately, or I've been doing more lately, my rare reviews, feel free to subscribe. Regardless, thank you for watching and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.